Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to the Morosini Nature Reserve. There were quite a few abandoned farm buildings around here, so I wanted to take a look at those first. The WC here stands for Westmoreland Conservancy, and the Morosini Reserve is part of this larger project to maintain nature and different parks throughout Westmoreland County. Now this silo kind of had some small entrances that I could put the camera up and in to see inside of the silo itself, so of course I couldn't miss out on that opportunity. Here's what we saw. I'm not sure what I'm looking at on the silo wall there. It almost looks like a TV screen to monitor something. If you know what that is, drop a comment below. This building looked like a mini silo, I'm not sure what else to call it, and it had quite some thorns guarding the entrance, so the thorn bush there kind of made it hard to get into, but I did manage to kind of shimmy my way around and get a view of the inside of this. Here's an old brick from the Penna Clay Company, and it looks like people sell these on Etsy and eBay. I'm not sure where they get them from, but there's a market for these. Didn't know that at the time, still wouldn't take it, but it's interesting to look at. There's another TV monitor in this too, actually, and I'm not sure what these were for. Maybe to monitor the height of whatever was in there at one point. Before continuing on, I had to go back to the other silo to get a view from the other side. Now this looks like an abandoned building, but it was sitting across from an actually occupied house, so I didn't know if this was theirs. I don't think it was. I think it was technically on the reserve property, so I just took a quick look in there, and then onwards we went to the trails. Now coming up ahead here is a building with slats that you can view out of in it, and we'll talk more about that in a bit, but for now, going down into the woods before that because there's some more abandoned structures to look at. This looked to be like an old stone building, and there's about half of it left. You can see where the windows were at one point. Then onwards we go to the building where you can look out of, but it's hard to see into. And this is the purpose of the building. It's what they were calling a bird blind, I think. A bird blind where the birds can't really tell you're in there, but you're able to look out and get a good view of the birds and probably get some really nice pictures. There's some actually fake ivy they put on here, even just I guess for decoration, but pretty cool area. Now there's some different drawings the kids colored in here and things like that of different birds, and what we're about to see is a box that kind of corresponds to these. I think that whoever runs this park has this box set up for specifically for bird watching and learning about bird watching. Now inside of this box they had a checklist of all the different birds that you can see in eastern PA, along with some different bird watching books, 3 of them I believe, so I'll show you the titles and covers of those books here. I saw there was a lookout on the map, and that was about a quarter mile past the bird blind and to the right, and it took me straight up this hillside. You can see the lookout in the distance here, and that's where we're heading, just straight up this hill. There's also supposed to be a geocache up here, so I was excited to try and find that. As we approached here, you can see a sweatshirt lying on the ground. Didn't think much of it at the time, just wanted to check out the overlook. Now that we've checked out the view, let's see what is in the geocache. Looking back at this, I think this owl coaster is pretty cool. Kind of wish I would have swapped that out for something. And then in this notebook, you can see there's like all caps on that print, and we'll go back to what that said in just a second. March 16th, looking for missing daughter since 10 a.m., now 4:53 p.m., found her purse and sweatshirt in field by lookout. This is interesting for a couple reasons. This is 3 days old, so it's now March 19th. So 3 days later, I assume whoever wrote this has already contacted the police or found their daughter. It's 3 days old, so missing parent or missing child definitely would have reached out to police. That being said, that brings more interest to the sweatshirt I found. Why wouldn't you take both the sweatshirt and the purse if you found those for evidence or something like that? And I'll show you the sweatshirt again in a second. It might not be their daughter's, but it happened to have what looked like a hair clip or something on it, so I assumed it was maybe a younger kid. But yeah, why would you not take that with you? Why would you not take that with you? So that leads me to a couple of potential conclusions. I checked the cache logs, and you can see here that no one in the cache logs even mentions about this note. You'd think if they left this note that you would leave something in the cache log saying an update or something saying, hey, yeah, everything's okay, or hey, everything's not okay. Well, if it's not okay, maybe not, but so that leads me to a couple possible conclusions. The first one being that it was real, but they found their kid. That's why they didn't leave any extra notes, and someone else then left their sweatshirt in a similar area. The second one is they didn't find their kid, and someone still left the sweatshirt in a similar area, because I assume if a parent found it, they would have taken the sweatshirt and the purse, not just left it on the ground. The alternative is that potentially it was false and they wrote the story and left the sweatshirt just to spook some people. Some people find that entertaining, so also a possibility. But whoever you are, I hope that you found your kid and that everything worked out. As for me, I continued on, and I am looking for now other geocaches that potentially have more information regarding this mystery. And so I actually found 3 other ones, and here's one of the 3. Let's take a look at what's in here. So nothing regarding that in this particular logbook, so I went ahead and signed it and put it back where I found it. And then just took a look at the truck sitting in the field and headed back downhill. Now we're still at the top of the hill, and if you go down that hill a ways, it takes you kind of into a woodsy area. You can head off to the right into the woods or continue left into the field. So I chose to go right into the woods. Appears to be something farming related happening off in the distance here. To me, this looks to be some type of man-made lake. You can see they have a pump of some sort in the middle, and it's almost square. Just thought this reflection was really nice, kind of artsy. This trail's super low. Okay, there we go. Get some nice views of the pond here. Coming up to this overlook, you'll hear a tree creak behind me. It almost sounded like it was gonna fall. Here we are approaching geocache number 3. Do you see it? No new info as to the missing child in that one either. There was the WAG family, W-A-G, maybe short for Wagaman family, that signed this one as well on 316. So I'm not sure if that's the family that maybe had a kid go missing and they found their kid. I'm not sure, but there was a family there on 316. There it is. It's right by the sun. I was filming. You can see this was a big geocaching day for me. This is either number 3 or 4, and there's still one more to go. This one had a little Toy Story figurine in it. Thought that was fun. Went ahead and signed this. Nothing different there, just the same folks that found it a couple days prior. Off in the distance here, you can see the house area around where we started. Now this here on the geocaching site, they're calling the Tree of Life cache, and you can see why. It's just a majestic looking tree. So this is pretty far away still. Wait till we get up close. This one was last found in February, so people don't really come out this way quite as much. It's a little bit harder to get to. You either have to go through this valley I'm kind of descending into now, so it's either a hilly adventure to get to the Tree of Life, or you have to take the very long way around. In this case, we started the long way around, and now we're going down in through the hilly section, through the valley, to complete the loop is the plan. Coming up on an old hunting stand here. This is the second one of these we've seen today. This one's in more shambles than the first. I'm not sure if once they acquired this land they just left those hunting stands. Here are some paw prints. Looks like a big dog's paw print, so somebody probably walking their dog in this case. Now this area, you'll notice, looks different than the previous areas we've been to. This one's more green and kind of overrun, where we've also been to the field and the woods. So I really like all the different areas of this reserve. There's the woods, the field, and then this kind of green, I wouldn't call it a marsh area, but it's definitely something different than we've seen before. And here the park staff, I can only assume, was going for the world's tallest birdhouse. Now, if you're a bird and you don't want to live in the world's tallest birdhouse, you also have the option of this bird hotel or bird apartment complex. You can choose your story, and you can have lots of neighbors and a nice community. So that greener section kind of left off here, and we're now back in, this almost looks like a deer path through the field to loop back towards the entrance. So that's it, and that's all for this adventure. Thanks for watching. If you liked, please subscribe, like the video, and we will see you in the next one.